Thank you, everyone. I'm just going to give you all a minute. Thank you for coming here today for this important rally. My name is Angela McCalla. I am the Policy and Advocacy Program Director for the Women's Fund. I am also an elected official for the city of Newport. I am also a mother and one who stands in solidarity today to ensure that this rally is successful and to also stand in solidarity with our community. We are just also grateful for all the lawmakers who are here today to stand in solidarity with the Rhode Island Coalition of Gun Violence. Before I get started, I'd like to introduce Sydney, who is the president of the Rhode Island Coalition Against Gun Violence.
Thank you, Angela, for that introduction. I am Sydney Monstream-Quas. I am the board chair of Rhode Island Coalition Against Gun Violence. We remain committed to addressing gun violence as an urgent public health crisis. Thank you, elected officials, community leaders, teachers, students, advocates, for being here today to support the passage of gun violence prevention bills. And to all the legislators behind me who are present today, we are grateful for your support and for your sponsorship of these life-saving bills. And I hope you all have heard that just today, we heard that the Speaker and Senate President are committed to passing meaningful gun reform legislation this session. We are united in our efforts to keep Rhode Islanders safe from gun violence. The past few weeks have been very raw. We are all mourning the brutal murders of communities of people, of loved ones, of children, and our hearts are broken. The unimaginable and senseless loss of so many lives in a community is unbearable. Futures have been erased instantly. There are really no words strong enough to describe how I feel, but I do know that I am angry that we have not passed more gun violence prevention bills here in Rhode Island. Too many of us here today have experienced gun violence in our families and in our communities. We must take action to prevent other families from experiencing the shattering loss and trauma that occurs when you lose a loved one to gun violence. We must take action to prevent the carnage of gun violence from terrorizing our families, our children, and our neighborhoods. We can no longer tolerate gun violence prevention bills being held for further study. When they are held for further study, they're being held for further violent trauma, held for further carnage, held for further murders, held for further suicides by gun, held for further funerals. When our elected officials are willing to pass gun violence prevention bills, they will be declaring that enough is enough, that the carnage is unacceptable and must stop, and that the status quo is not tolerable.
Enough is enough! Enough is enough! Enough is enough!
But today, I have hope to be here with so many legislators, including my senator, who is chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee and the lead sponsor of the High Capacity Magazine ban, is very hopeful. I hope that our elected leaders will use their power to assure that these bills get a vote now. It is time for a vote.
Yes!
We are continuously mourning for so many cherished people lost to gun violence. So please join me in a moment of silence as we grieve for and honor those people whose lives have been cut short due to gun violence. Thank you for being here.
Okay, thank you, Sydney. So we're so grateful for all our lawmakers who are here today in solidarity with us. And as the session starts to head towards a close, we know how busy you all are, and we truly appreciate you being here to show that gun violence prevention is a top priority. Now more than ever, we need vocal champions willing to stand up for our rights to be safe from gun violence. We cannot, we cannot end the legislative session without taking action on this crucial package of bills, and the number of legislators here with us today show what broad support these bills have. I'd like to ask all of our legislators and our elected officials present to gather around the podium as we hear from the following General Assembly leaders in this order. So Senate Judiciary Chair Cynthia Coyne, Senator Health and Human Services Chair Josh Miller, State Representative Justine Caldwell, State Representative Teresa Tanzi, State Representative Leonela Felix, and State Representative Karen Alzate on behalf of the Black and Latino Legislative Caucus. If Senator Cynthia Coyne will first come up, please.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I want to thank everyone for coming out to this very important event today. I'm pleased to welcome our general officers, so many of my fellow legislators, and many dedicated advocates who are here today. Their presence is a reflection of how important this issue is. Last week, I was in Annapolis, Maryland to attend the United States Naval Academy Commissioning Week and graduation ceremonies, where my son and 1,100 classmates were preparing to be commissioned as an ensign in the United States Navy or a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps. On Tuesday, May 24th, as I was preparing to join my family and friends to watch the arrival of the Navy's Blue Angels, who were flying into Annapolis to honor the graduates, a gunman armed with an assault-type weapon entered Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, and over the next 78 minutes killed 19 students and 2 teachers. The contrast between my day, your day, and the tragedy in Uvalde is horrifically unexplainable and haunting. We will never know the many achievements that awaited those 19 children and 2 teachers, the contributions they would have made, the happiness and pride they would have brought to others, and the families that they had or might someday start. Instead, once again, parents, sons, daughters, and siblings are left to grieve. And to try to make sense of this unexplainable tragedy, it's mind-boggling. As a mom, the pain of those parents is just unimaginable. The contrast between the pride I felt last week in the achievements of my son and his classmates and the deaths of 19 children is more than tragic. It is devastating, and it requires a call to action, not to allow those deaths to be in vain. Now Uvalde joins a sad legacy with names like Columbine, Sandy Hook, and Parkland, among others. In the aftermath of yet another tragic school massacre, there are those that claim that no law can prevent such carnage, that because criminals don't follow the law, it is wrong to enact laws to try to lessen the likelihood of such tragedy from happening here. That is just unacceptable. It's just a plain cop-out. As government leaders, each of us has a responsibility to answer that call to action. It's about turning pain into action, as President Biden remarked several days ago. As a state senator, I've worked alongside many of you out here for gun reform through my time here in the Senate. Before I ran for office, I spent 20 years serving the Rhode Island State Police. That experience has been a driving force behind my work to promote public safety and advance gun reform here in the General Assembly. I know how dangerous the uncontrolled spread of firearms is for our communities, and like so many members of law enforcement, I support common sense steps to fight back. Rhode Island was one of the first states in the country to ban untraceable ghost guns and firearms made with 3D printers. We've enacted a red flag law to keep firearms out of the hands of people who pose a risk to themselves and to others. Yeah. And we have banned bump stocks to prevent weapons from being made more deadly through simple modifications.
No more magazine capacity!
We closed the dangerous straw purchasing loophole that allowed individuals to buy guns from someone else. And let us not forget, we passed Senator President Ruggiero's Harold M. Metz School Safety Act, which prohibits firearms on school grounds. But it is not enough. And we know that our work is not done yet. There are important measures currently before us at the State House here. I'm proud to sponsor the bill prohibiting high-capacity magazines, the ban on it. But for those in the military or law enforcement, there is no need for anyone to possess a high-capacity magazine. It's not designed to be used for hunting or sport. It is designed for only one purpose, and that's to kill another human being. Majority Leader McCaffrey has proposed prohibiting the possession of loaded rifles or shotguns in public. What possible justification is there for someone to walk down the road with a loaded shotgun? Majority Whip Goodwin has proposed raising the gun buying age to 21. Does it make any sense that a young adult cannot purchase alcohol or tobacco until they are 21, but can still purchase a firearm at 18? No. Right. Senator Seveny has proposed increasing the penalty for failing to properly secure firearms. And Senator Miller, who you'll hear from shortly, has introduced a ban on assault weapons, which I'm also a co-sponsor. These are common sense bills. Make no mistake, of all the school shootings in our nation's history, there is a single common feature. The killer used a firearm. That is the issue we must address. As a mother of 4 children, a retired member of law enforcement, and as a responsible public official, I stand here with my colleagues in government and with all of you as a Rhode Islander to say the time for rhetoric has passed and the time to act is now. I know that our most important obligation as legislator is to do everything in our power to make our state safer. And as chair of Senate Judiciary, I promise you I will continue to do that. Thank you again.
Hi, everybody. I'm Senator Josh Miller. And I've been alone at a podium like this for many years, and I'm glad to be joined by so many. As a long-term sponsor of the assault weapon ban, I'm glad to be up here, and I'm optimistic to hear the commitment to passage. But as somebody who has been involved in legislation for over 15 years now, there are things we must be vigilant about when we consider these bills and see them brought to passage. They must be as effective as intended. And so therefore, I ask you to please consider and be vigilant and watch all these bills as they move forward to make sure they are effective and as intended. You must watch every word, every number, every comma, whether it's the bill to limit, Senator Coyne's bill to limit capacity to 10 rounds. We must be vigilant about that.
10 rounds is it.
We must be vigilant, and we must watch every word, number, and comma on my bill and Rep. Caldwell's bill to regulate assault weapons. We must be vigilant and careful that the bill on safe storage not meet the fate that is met in past years, and that is effective and intended as the sponsors have brought it forward. As Chair of Health and Human Services, the safe storage is a priority of mine because of the suicide that unintended access to guns can result in. And raising the age to 21, in the past 2 weeks, we've seen two 18-year-olds implement carnage on children throughout America. We cannot have that happen here. So I'm glad to see so much support, and I want you to keep your eyes open for maintaining the effectiveness as sponsors and all of you who have worked on this legislation have intended. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Miller. I'm Representative Justine Caldwell. I am the sponsor in the House of our bills to regulate assault weapons, to limit high-capacity magazines, and to mandate the secure storage of firearms. I got involved in this fight. Involved in this fight for gun violence prevention when Sandy Hook happened. When Sandy Hook happened, I was on a cruise with my family around Christmas with my 9-year-old son. We were all sitting outside by the pool, and they made a loudspeaker announcement over the cruise deck saying there had just been a horrific shooting at an elementary school in Connecticut, and all those children had been killed. And I looked down at my son Escher, who was 9 months old at the time, and I said, well, thank God Escher is only 9 months old, because by the time he goes to school, this sort of thing will never happen again. We will have done something to prevent these kinds of tragedies. I'll fast forward to you to last Tuesday night, when my husband and I had a disagreement about whether or not we should tell a 10-year-old Escher, who was in the 4th grade, the same age and the same grade as those little kids in Texas who died alone, scared, and without their mother's arms around them, a brutal death so terrible they couldn't even be identified. If we should tell him what had happened. My husband thought we should, and I thought we shouldn't, because if he didn't hear about it, we shouldn't worry him on the way to school. As it turns out, to any parent of a 10-year-old boy, you know he's been following the NBA playoffs pretty closely. And he was Googling the sports stats that morning, and a pop-up came up Wednesday morning before we left for school about the shooting in Texas. And he said to me, did somebody go inside and shoot 4th graders inside an elementary school in Texas? And I sent my husband outside with my 7-year-old daughter, and I sat Escher down and I said, yes, they did. And he said to me, but my classroom is on the 2nd floor, so I couldn't jump and I couldn't get out. And tears sprung to my eyes, and those of you who know me know it is a rare moment for me to be speechless, but I was, and I didn't know what to say. So I looked Escher in the eye, and I told him a lie. I told him, but you don't have to worry, because you are safe at school. In Rhode Island, we can make kids like Escher safer at school. We can pass, like Senator Miller said, all 5 of the bills in our gun safety package as they are written. Chairwoman Coyne mentioned, the Speaker and the Senate President put out a statement today talking about their commitment to meaningful gun reform. And I have known Joe Shikarchi for a long time, and that man would give you the shirt off his back if he thought somebody needed it. And I know that when we talk to him, we reach out and we tell him our personal stories, that he will be there with us as well. So thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Teresa Tanzi. I'm a state representative from Narragansett in South Kingstown. I've been in this building for 12 years. The bill that I'm sponsoring would raise the age from 18 to 21 to purchase long guns, which would bring the age to 21 for all guns to be purchased. When 21 for handguns was passed in Rhode Island, there was no mass market for these assault-style weapons. There was no one purchasing these for recreational use. These were not under consideration when this law was originally passed. It's time to close this loophole and keep the guns out of the hands of those under 21. There's no smoking, there's no gambling, there's no recreational cannabis, there's no rental cars, there's no drinking if you're under 21. Why would we allow someone under 21 to have access to a powerful weapon of war? We've long acknowledged the adolescent brain with its underdeveloped prefrontal cortex and its overactive amygdala is not responsive to understanding long-term consequences the way an adult brain is. It's time for us to act. It's time for us to no longer be able to say time and time again that the authorities said the gunman was able to obtain the weapons legally. This was in the New York Times this weekend. Look at all the times that it's been stated that the gunman was able to obtain these weapons legally. We need to act now. We have things that we can do to change that, and we must act now. Thank you.
I'm too short, so I'm going to bring this down. Hi, everyone. I am Representative Leonella Felix. I represent District 61 in Pawtucket, and I am the proud sponsor of the open carry legislation. So I don't know what else we can say standing up here and repeat the same talking points. What else do we need to say to make this happen? Not tomorrow, not the next day, when? Immediately. What do we need to do to convince leadership and everyone that this needs to happen? No one should be able to carry a weapon openly in public. What is the purpose other than to intimidate? What is the purpose other than to incite fear and violence? There is no legitimate purpose. And I am tired of seeing the news stories of community members being massacred by kids, 18-year-olds, buying weapons. Why? Again, like Rep. Tanzi said, you can't buy alcohol at 21, at 18, so why can't you buy a weapon? It's outrageous that we need to stand here once again to do this. And I really hope that enough is enough and that not one more person will die at the hands of gun violence. I'm really hopeful that this is the year that we make that happen. So thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Representative Karen Alzate from District 60 in Pawtucket and Central Falls. I'm also the chair of the Black and Latino Caucus. Last week, I met with some of you, and I'm still mad. If you are not still mad, you are not paying attention. When is enough enough? When are we going to decide that mass shootings are not part of the fabric of our nation. The time to pass common sense gun legislation is now. I am confident that my colleagues feel the same way and are ready to work together to pass the package of bills that they've all introduced. Working together, it is the only way for us to put our state first, to really invest in our communities when it comes to addressing the issue of gun violence. Our nation is hurting from the past 2 weeks. And those are the only two that have been in the news. We know that there's been more. It is not normal to continue to live like mass shootings are a norm in this society and in this country. We are better than this. We are stronger than this. And together, we will pass common sense gun legislation. Thank you.